Fun fact, the term Asian American was actually a political one, born in 1968 from activists who were saying, hey, we need to kind of come together, show solidarity, and advocate for greater racial equality. So that is how the term Asian American came to be. Nowadays, we kind of vacillate between different acronyms, from things like AAPI, which is Asian American Pacific Islander, to AANHPI, which is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander. Regardless of which acronym you choose to use or how you identify, I hope that we can highlight some amazing Asian American creators in the personal finance space today. If you are new here, my name is Lindsay. I am a mixed Filipina and a financial therapist, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite Asian American creators in the personal finance space. What I love about the people that I'm going to be sharing with you is not only do they teach you interesting things about how to do X, Y, and Z with your money, but they also talk about their lived experience as either immigrants, children of immigrants, and they're not afraid to talk about the political side of money, because the reality is money and politics are intersected, and money is also intersected with things like race and gender. So without further ado, let's get into some of my favorite AAPI personal finance content creators. First up, we've got Berna Anat of Hey Berna. She is a shame-free, very funny personal finance content creator that takes her lived experience as the eldest daughter of Filipino immigrants and talks about how she got out of $50,000 of debt, and she does it in a very transparent and fun-loving way, while she gives amazing insight about what money is and how to use it and how to strategize. My favorite thing about her is actually her behind the scenes over on Instagram, where you can see her hanging out with her family and with her loved ones and really get to see that side of her. Her brand is called Hey Berna. She just wrote the book Money Out Loud, and she used to have a podcast with Beaches called Get Money. Before she was a personal finance content creator, she was the teen community lead at Instagram, and before that, she was the teen programs director at the YMCA in New York City. You can find her all over the interweb at Hey Berna. Next up, Ramit Sethi. You might know him from I Will Teach You to Be Rich and his new Netflix show, How to Be Rich. Ramit has been in the personal finance game for almost 2 decades, which is wild because I think we're basically the same age. But he has been very clear from the jump that personal finance is not about cutting the $3 or $5 expenses, is really about thinking much more broadly about what constitutes a rich life. And his philosophy is to spend on the things you love and cut ruthlessly on the things that don't matter to you. He's also not afraid to go there politically and is very clear that a lot of things that happen in the world of our personal finances are coming from the systems and politics and the politicians that are in charge. He talks about simultaneously acknowledging personal responsibility while talking about real systemic issues. You can find him everywhere under the I Will Teach You to Be Rich umbrella. He has a book, a workbook, money coaching, and again, that's Ramit Sethi. Vivian Tu is your rich BFF and former Wall Street girly. She worked on Wall Street for several years, and when she left and went to work at BuzzFeed, she found a lot of her colleagues were asking her for personal finance tips, and rather than just answering them kind of one-on-one, she turned to the internet and put it on TikTok and Instagram, and has since exploded her Your Rich BFF brand to include a podcast called Net Worth and Chill, and has done amazing things to help people understand the basics of money and also the politics of money. She is not afraid to cover things like abortion and the pink tax on her channels. That's Vivian Tu, and you can check her out everywhere. Julia Menez is one of my go-to people when I am trying to figure out what trip I should take and what points I should use to get there, because she is in the world of travel hacking. Travel hacking is where you're strategic about earning points and miles, usually from credit cards, and redeeming them for free or cheap travel. She started the GeoBreeze travel podcast during the pandemic when she was craving finding other types of points creators who often weren't represented in this particular niche. Her brand exploded. What I love is that she talks about finding a point strategy that works for you rather than trying to optimize the best redemption for the best cents per mile. She's just like, you know what? You want to go somewhere? Let's use the points, get there. Let's not sweat the small stuff. And I really appreciate that approach, because especially in the world of points and miles, people can get hung up on telling you what's right and what's wrong about redemptions. Kind of sounds like a lot of personal finance when people tell you this is right and this is wrong. And it's like, no, it's whatever works best for you. Again, that's Julia Menez of GeoBreeze Travel. Paula Pant is a podcast host, host, writer, and media commenter on the personal finance space. She started out earning $20,000 to $30,000 a year as a new college grad and quickly burnt out. She went traveling for a year, kind of recalibrated her nervous system, and when she came back, she made a conscientious effort to make sure that her relationship to work and money was much more sustainable and much more healthy. Thinking through this tagline, which is at the crux of her brand, Afford Anything. And it's this: you can afford anything, but you can't afford everything. And with that simple tagline, it helps her to help her audience decipher what matters to me and what doesn't, and how can I prioritize my financial goals. While she personally talks a lot about real estate investing, she doesn't pigeonhole herself to only talk about real estate investing. She talks about a bunch of other things on her podcast. And what I also think is really interesting about her, she practices what she preaches, meaning she really has an investment in education. And right now, at the time of this recording, she is currently a fellow in business and economics journalism at Columbia University. Paco De Leon owns a bookkeeping agency for creatives, is an author of a book, and just came out with a new podcast. Paco teaches money advice that you can actually understand, and she knows this firsthand. She worked in the world of financial advising for a while and still felt like she couldn't figure it out. And she's like, if I literally study this and do this for a living and it still feels hella confusing to me, I must not be alone. And what can I do to help people understand the realities of money without making them feel badly about it? One thing that she started figuring out when she was working on her relationship with money was exactly that: the relational piece, the emotional piece. And she had to unpack the money stories that she learned growing up and kind of pushing up against some of the barriers that she experienced as a queer daughter of immigrants. With time, she learned how to lovingly rewrite that money story and now helps people do that in so many different ways. So if you need a bookkeeper, check out her bookkeeping agency for creatives, the Hell Yeah Group. You can check out her book, Finance for the People. I love her little doodles that are throughout it that really helps me understand concepts as a visual learner, and her podcast, Weird Finance. Max Doe is a graphic designer who used his skills to explode his brand within the world of travel hacking. Yes, we've got another travel hacker on the list. Max is originally from California, and when he got a graphic design job in Chicago, he was traveling back and forth and was trying to figure out ways to save on travel. And that's how he stumbled upon travel hacking. He took his personal love of travel hacking and matched it with his professional experience as a graphic designer and started creating these really cool Instagram carousels that would walk you through different travel hacks so you could learn step by step how to redeem your points and miles for free travel. He said that he kind of stumbled into this. He created it because it was fun. He had alerts set up on his Twitter, and he was able to quickly create these graphics because he's a graphic designer. Nowadays, you can find him, of course, over on Instagram, but over on YouTube as well, and everything is housed underneath his brand called Max Miles Points. Catie Takimoto is the millennial money honey. She is super open about working towards FI, that's financial independence, and she wants to reach it at the age of 35. The other cool thing is she's transparent about the things that she has in her life that have allowed her to move towards FI at a much quicker pace. One is reducing the cost of housing. She shared she's lived with her parents at certain points in time, she's had roommates at certain points in time, and she has a high earning job because she's an art director in tech. She also is really great about sharing these thrifting hauls without making them feel like that's her entire lifestyle. I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like a lot of thrifting hauls, that's all they do. But she kind of shares I love clothing and fashion, and I want to do it in a way that is in alignment with my values of sustainability and financially saving some money. You can check out Catie at Millennial Money Honey. Outfit change because after I recorded this, I chatted with Phuong Luong, one of the women who I'm still going to profile here, but she is actually venturing out into her own education firm, which is called Just Wealth. Everything else is the same in terms of what she's interested in, what she does, but the place you can find her now is different. She loves producing educational content that talks about how to do restoration with your money. And what that means for her is how can we close the racial wealth divide and the gender divide using our money. She focuses on ESG investing, which is environmental, social, and governance investing. In other words, she tries to make sure that the things that she is investing in and teaching her clients to invest in or investing on behalf of her clients in is how to do things that are in alignment with their values. So often when we buy a plain old index fund, we are buying into companies whose values or missions might not necessarily align with ours. And so she's figured out a way to make sure that we take care of ourselves financially by investing in the future, but by dialing down investing in harmful companies. Her passion on the topic of economic restoration really shines through in her column for Morningstar, where she debunks the myth of the Asian client in personal finance, ways to invest outside of your 401k, and talking about investing in alignment with your values. Again, that's Phuong Luong. You can find her at Just Wealth. I will put her LinkedIn below, and you can also read her column at Morningstar. Jason Vitug is the founder of the company Frugal, which teaches people about financial literacy, but not just about financial literacy, also about financial wellness. And he's written 2 books, You Only Live Once and Happy Money, Happy Life, which really focus on these 8 different pillars of wellness. He believes that, look, our lives are finite and we have to use money to supplement them so we can live a life that feels really good for us. Rather than chasing money, it's more about how can we make money support us so we can live well. He said that he had seen so many people on both ends of the economic spectrum, both folks who were broke and both folks who had tons and tons of money, who were still struggling with similar things. They were saying like, I'm not happy, I'm super dissatisfied, I'm feeling down. And he realized that yes, money helps us to solve those problems, and we have to use that money in a way that supports our overall wellness. You can check out his website Frugal or either of his books. I hope you enjoyed this roundup. Please share in the comments other AA, NH, and PI financial influencers that you think we should know about. I know for sure that there are more than 10 of us, or 11 if I'm counting myself, of us out there, but share who you already know below or who you think we should add to our list. It's so important that we have diversity in the way that we consume content, not just to say like, oh, we have an Asian person, now we've represented everyone, but for us to really get into the habit of seeing and hearing different lived experiences and finding people who have values that are aligned with us. That is so important when we work on creating financial wellness. If you're only following people who are telling you how bad you are, how wrong you are, how dumb you are, that's not going to feel good, and that's certainly not going to move you towards financial wellness. So check out these amazing personal finance influencers, and if you want to hire me, a Filipina financial therapist, you can. I can speak at your organization about financial wellness and financial self-care using a financial therapy lens. I will link to how you can hire me in the description box. Have a great AAPI month and happy May.